Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Lightworkers to Success, Secrets to Success YouTube channel. We're so glad you're here today. And today we have a really interesting topic. Amanda and Adam experienced an alien abduction, or what we think is an alien abduction, over the weekend. So we're just going to kind of interview them, find out how that was for them and what all happened. And then Rebecca's going to share something from her past. And so if you're here and this is your first time at our channel, welcome. We don't believe anything happens by accident, so please enjoy. If you love the video, please like it. And if you want to make sure that you are notified when we go live, hit that little bell down there, and feel free to share our thing. So Adam, I know that you and Amanda had texted me, or Amanda had texted me last night because there was all these things going on with you guys, and we did a lot of healing and clearing and stuff. So you want to just kind of let's back me up to I think it all started basically for you guys Friday night, right? Friday night, Saturday morning.
Yeah, it was, everything was typically normal. I mean, we live in north of Seattle, and we drove up to see a friend in the hospital who was in ICU, just got out of ICU, and we wanted to go and say hi and see how he was doing and, just visit. And everything was pretty normal up till that point. We had met his wife for the first time. We really kicked it off really well. We had some deep conversations, kind of a lot of spiritual conversations, and all sorts of different things were coming up. Amanda reset light scores in the hospital and the hospital staff, and our friend that was also in the hospital. We really kicked it off really well. We had some deep conversations. Oh, okay. And so someone else is watching. So, and anyways, we got home. We got to our hotel later that night, and we checked in. And when we checked in, we had a room that was in the corner of the building, so all the way around us was all glass. And we opened up all the curtains all the way so we could just see all the night lights, and we're right downtown Vancouver. So, we had lots of lights all around us, and it was really cool. And we were just, we left the curtains open overnight because we just really wanted to see all the lights. And, we went to bed, maybe a little bit later than normal, maybe 12:30 or 1 or so. We went out for a late dinner in downtown Vancouver. And we got back, we showered, we did our thing, and then we went to sleep. And about, I don't know, I would say in between 3 and 4 in the morning, I had woken up, and it was one of those things where you just kind of like open your eyes and you're just kind of looking around, and you're not really sure where you are, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the hotel room. And then I looked on the roof, like on the ceiling, and there was like a bright red light, like almost flashing. It was like almost flashing, like, you would see on an airplane, if you're like on the wing and at night and you can just see the flasher constantly go. It was almost like that, but it was really bright. And then I remember just kind of like peeking my head up and looking over at Amanda and looking out the window and just seeing the bright light. And I just kind of dismissed it at first, that because there was a Boston Pizza down, like we were up 12 floors or whatever, and there was a Boston Pizza down, but it was in a different area. And the Boston Pizza's lights, when I woke up in the morning, I dismissed it as that, but I remember waking up and I'm like, Boston Pizza's lights doesn't come up that high. Like it doesn't light up the room that much. And then I was like, oh, that was kind of weird. And, I just kind of left at that. I didn't really say anything. And then I went out for a run first thing in the morning, and I came back and I had a shower. And after I got out of the shower, and we decided to go and have breakfast with our friend's wife. She made us breakfast. And as we were, I don't know, going to the hospital or after the hospital, after we saw him a second time, Amanda said to me, she's like, hey, your fingernails are so dirty. And I used to be an auto mechanic, and my nails always would get dirty. I build things, and my hands just get dirty all the time. And I just dismissed it. I'm like, yeah, my nails are dirty all the time. Right. I didn't even think twice about it. But since I started working online, one thing that I can say is my nails are never dirty at all anymore. So like I didn't even put two and two together at first. And then I was thinking about the comment later. I'm like, well, how did my fingernails get dirty? Like there's no time that I was doing anything that my nails would have gotten dirty. And then it just got me to thinking about earlier that night about the red light flashing on the roof. And then I don't know what it was, but on Sunday morning, I had woken up and on the top of my head, it was like tender. It felt really, really tender. And I didn't know if maybe I got a sunburn on the top of my head because I was out running in the morning, although the sun wasn't that hot. And I'm like, how can I get a sunburn? And then I just kind of told Amanda all of this. And I'm like, hey, the top of my head is so tender. And she's like, really? So is mine. And she's like, where? And I'm like, right here. And she's like, that's right where mine is. And then it was just like all these things just started to come together. And I told her everything. And then maybe you tell your side.
Well, so I woke up in the hotel room and something caught my attention. We were pretty far up and I just saw this like little black shadow, black orb. It was kind of big, just kind of shadowing, kind of hovering over the top of the window. And as soon as I opened my eyes, it like shot upwards. And so I was like, ah. And my first thought was like it was a negative entity or something. And so I just kind of, I was going back to sleep. It didn't really bother me, but I felt like something was watching us. And so I just kind of, said in my head, like, hey, you're not allowed to be here. I'm trying to get some sleep. And I went back to sleep pretty quick. There was something in the background too, like behind it, because I felt like it both kind of like shot upwards. So that was my experience. And then with the tenderness of the head and all of that. And that was Saturday night when we got back home. We were watching some TV before we were going to bed. And he was like, oh, my head hurts real, right here. And I'm like, mine too. And so then we're like, what is that? And we got really, really dizzy. Like just weren't feeling ourselves. And we were super dizzy. I felt like somebody was like pressing down on my body because my body just felt really heavy as I was walking. And I went yesterday to a birthday party and did some painting. There was a paint party. When I got home, I just thought, oh my gosh, like I do not feel good at all. I was just dizzy. Adam and I, we were just watching TV most of the day. But even that, I was like, I have to go lay down. I was like, I'm so dizzy. Like I can't even sit here and watch TV right now. So we went upstairs and that's when we were kind of talking about what could this be? What could have happened? And then I was like, I feel like we were abducted. And I go, and I feel like we were like digging for the truth. And then it changed to we were uncovering the truth. So then we kind of just went to sleep with that. And we slept for a couple hours. And then when we woke up, I think, or wait, maybe it was before we went to sleep, but you can tell the other side of your story.
Yeah, so we had an afternoon nap because we were both so like out of it and we just couldn't keep our eyes open. And then I started thinking more about my fingernails. And one of the things I know when I get dirt underneath my fingernails is I typically have to get like a nail brush and I have to like clean it that way to get the dirt out. Well, I mean, all I did was have a shower on Sunday and I looked at my nails and they were completely clean again. And then I'm like, wait, what is going on? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And the dirt that was underneath my fingernails, it wasn't brown or wasn't black. It was like grayish. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what is that? So I kind of just tapped into my intuition and I just started saying, what is this dirt? Where did it come from? And immediately it popped up. Oh, I was in Hollow Earth and something brought me there. And I was like, I needed to touch the soil for some reason. And whoever brought us there, when they returned us, they like to return you so that you don't suspect anything, right? Well, they didn't see the dirt underneath my fingernails. And so that's the clues that we kind of had. And it just gets more bizarre as we start thinking about it, as I start kind of rewinding it. And I know that I'm going to remember more. It's just not right now that I'm going to remember it for some reason. Something is just allowing the information to kind of trickle in and to not overshock us too much, because we did go through, and I don't know if everyone knows, but when you're in Hollow Earth, you are in a 5D dimension fully at that point. And your body is typically more of a light being or more holographic, and it's a lot less dense than what we went through. So I think that's part of the reason why we were feeling the way that we were, because we were just completely drained of our energy, because it's a different type of energy when you're in Hollow Earth. So that's it. That's kind of where we're at with things, and we're just kind of piecing it together. We thought we would share it today and just kind of get, see what you guys think, and maybe if there's any suggestions or ideas or tips or anything that you can suggest on maybe how we can tap into that. And I know, Rebecca, for you, I mean, you went through some similar abductions, when you were younger, even. Maybe if you want to talk about that, and if there's any similarities with what we went through.
Well, my first question to you would be, did it feel like a positive experience or a negative one or neutral? Are you feeling good about it or kind of like not so good?
At first, my first thought is that I felt violated. Now I feel it was more of a positive experience, and something was being shown to us. Like Amanda said, we're uncovering the truth about something. So
I think the demons were there to stop us from uncovering the truth, that they were trying to, attach themselves to us.
mhm.
And because I had a friend reach out to me last night randomly and was showing me some pictures, and things just started piecing together. And I feel like what was shown to me is that what we were uncovering was information for him. Yeah.
Well, it could be because your two energies have come together, that you're attracting experiences like this, because that can magnify. And, you're both very tuned in. So this could be the beginning of all kinds of wild experiences. And yeah, I've told my story about how I saw these 3 UFOs up close right over my head years ago. And then many years later, I was hypnotized by a guy who was a big deal at MUFON. And he liked to hypnotize people that had had experiences to see what they remembered. And I started laughing because right away I saw one of those grays with the big eyes staring at me. And I thought it was like funny and a joke, because I didn't know if it was my imagination or if I really had met one of those. But more and more and more, I'm hearing stories lately about people that are having these kinds of experiences. And I do believe, they're saying full disclosure could come in 2024, where all the Lyrans and Pleiadians and reptilians and, entities that are living here anyway, it's got to be like common knowledge. Yeah, they're all here. We've always, and so maybe you're going to be one of the ones that'll just get to know more of the information faster than other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And share it on YouTube.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your abduction at all?
My abduction? Well, I had not really a conscious abduction by aliens, but later on, I had a spontaneous healing of cancer when I let go and just shifted my belief system. And I honestly feel like, there was a guy who was a Harvard professor who interviewed an awful lot of abductees. And he reached the conclusion, his name was John Mack. Strangely, he got hit by a bus when he was visiting London, and that was the end of him. But he interviewed a lot of abductees, and he said, you really cannot separate spirituality from the alien thing. It's like it's all tied in together. And that's how I've always felt, because I mean, I study a lot of spiritual writings of people, but at the same time, I feel like these higher intelligence beings who can communicate with us telepathically, I honestly believe that when I had that experience in my teen years with the 3 UFOs, I was programmed. And I've been watched. I think there's certain people they watch. I have other family members that have had very close encounters with UFOs. So it's just the way it is. And I think they programmed me to ultimately start teaching, like the work of Jose Silva, teaching people how to, go within, visualize, use their imaginations, because we're moving toward that. People will ultimately start manifesting instantaneously by using their thoughts rather than the material world. But, you got to be careful, because if you're thinking negative thoughts, you don't want to manifest negative things. And that's one of the reasons there's a delay in the manifestation process right now. But I know there are beings, that's how they operate. Oh, you need a house? You just visualize it. Here it is. You need and they say that's how they operate these crafts with their minds.
Mm-hmm.
It works through their consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very, very, I've always been, ever since I was a little girl, fascinated by extraterrestrials. So I do believe they're around me and I'm connected to them. I haven't really had a memory of going on board a ship, but I've had some pretty strange dreams. There was one time when I was teaching the Silva training every weekend, and I had this vivid dream that I was with these beings and they fed me this substance that looked like a fluorescent piece of a melon. It was glowing and it was like greenish yellow, and I would bite into it. I had this dream several nights in a row, and it would really energize me. Always wondered what that stuff was. But, I think on the astral level, on the spiritual level, we connect with these beings. And I think you two must have had some kind of an experience, or it wouldn't have affected you so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something happened.
Well, cool.
You should ask for more of them. They say they're just waiting for you to communicate, and then you've got to be in the right frequency so they can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely will. I mean, I've experienced it before in other, through contact. What's that guy's name? Stephen
Greer.
I have his app, and I went through that, and I did contact aliens, and I have experienced other experiences than what I just did. This one was a lot more physical than it was more of a spiritual type of feeling. So definitely, I'm not shy of doing that, and it'll be exciting to sort of see what happens.
Well, there's a young woman on YouTube that I just watched, and she uses the Stephen Greer technique, and she clears her consciousness. She goes out every night. She sees UFOs every single night. And cool. She's taken a lot of pictures of them. She sees them all the time. Yeah. She says they're always there. You just can't see them sometimes until you get tuned in. Yeah.
Well, amazing. I hope, you guys like this. And if you did, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, share it with anyone else. I'd love to hear your experience or any kind of insights that you got from this. Just drop us a link in the chat or talk to us chat, and we'll be happy to get back to you. But that's kind of our experience, and it's exciting, and I'm waiting and not anxious, but excited to see what will happen next. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed our broadcast for today.